Right guys, welcome to this new channel. So this is going to be a quick, I say quick, knowing what I'm like when I start talking, it could be longer than I expect it to be. But I just want to give you an insight into why I've started this separate channel and why I've started it. So quick explanation about the reasons why I'm starting this channel. One, it gives me an avenue to talk and discuss various issues relating to the circumstances that I've currently found myself in. Two, I hope to meet like-minded people that are maybe going through a similar situation or have been through a similar situation. Sometimes I think it's good to talk about things, and it gives me something to kind of focus on during these difficult times. These videos aren't going to be scripted, edited. They're just going to be raw. What you see is what you get. And there's not going to be any particular upload schedule. I'm just going to find time when I can. At the moment, my wife's already been through her first 3 days of chemotherapy. I'm a little bit behind. I want to try and keep this fairly up to date with what's going on. So I've got a little bit of catching up to do, but I will catch up in due course. At the moment, like I said, she's had her first 3 days of chemo treatment, and she's currently back in bed because she's not feeling very well. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to come out and give you a quick introduction. So I'm sure a lot of you have come from my other channel where I do woodworking, workshop related and tool review type videos. So in case there's anyone that's subscribed to this channel that doesn't know what's going on. So it all started back in January on the 21st this year. I was actually out here in the workshop making a video. I think it was the Trend M-Class Dust Extractor video that I was filming. It was afternoon, early evening, that sort of time. My stepson came bursting into the shed, screaming, "Mum, mum, mum." So obviously I've dropped what I was doing, run into the house, and my wife was having a seizure. Now, she's never suffered with seizures or anything like that before, so it was a complete shock for me. To say my heart dropped out on my backside would be an understatement, because it was just so frightening to see. Immediately I screamed at my son to ring 999, which he did straight away, and he actually put her on speakerphone. So we were told to lay her on the floor, check her airways, which I'd kind of already done anyway, check for a pulse. I thought she was breathing, but she was making this horrible rattling sound, and thank God my son had actually put the phone next to me on speakerphone. She actually heard my wife's breathing and said to me, "Is that the patient I can hear breathing?" And I said, "Yeah." And she's gone, "Right, that's agonal breathing. You need to start chest compressions." My first response was, "She's got a pulse and she's breathing." And the woman calmly said, "It's agonal breathing. You need to listen to me and do exactly what I tell you right away." So luckily I've had a 3-day first aid course, albeit about 6-7 years ago now. So I kind of knew how to do it and where to do it, but I did check on the position. and immediately started the chest compressions. At this point, my wife was completely lifeless on the floor. Still can't tell you how long I was actually doing the chest compressions for. That bit is just a complete and utter blur. But after a certain amount of time, my wife suddenly started moving her arms and was trying to push me off, and I told the woman on the end of the phone, and she said that was a good thing and that she was responsive and I could stop the chest compressions. And at that point the paramedics turned up. So although my wife she had her eyes open, she was sitting up, she was fighting, she was really fighting. Her eyes were open, she'd kind of look right through you. She wasn't responding to any questions or anything. After what seemed like an eternity, they got her in the ambulance. By this time my wife was somewhat responsive, in shock, didn't really know what the hell had happened or what was going on, and that's when they kind of done all their checks and rushed her off to hospital. So obviously, because of the restrictions that are in place at the moment, I wasn't allowed to go, so I was at home waiting for like updates. And in the early hours of the morning, I got an update saying that my wife was fine, she was up, she's talking, she knows what's happened and what's going on. They'd done a brain scan and they thought they'd found cysts on her brain, and they weren't entirely sure, didn't think it was cancer at this stage, and until they'd done like further tests and things, they couldn't say either way. So she was in hospital for a week. During that time she had various scans and ultrasounds, and obviously they'd found the cysts on her brain. They come across something on her lung and something on her liver. So they were trying to work out the best and fastest, less intrusive way to do a biopsy to try and work out what they'd found on her liver and her lungs. During the course of the week, they decided, or we were told, they didn't need to do a biopsy on the brain because they were happy it was cysts. When they done an ultrasound on the liver, they couldn't actually find what the doctors thought they'd found, and we were told to see that as a good sign. But there was still something on her lung which they needed to do a biopsy of to see what it was. So after a week she come home, and we just had to wait around for the date for her to go in and get a biopsy on her lung. That came through, and that turned out it was about a week after she was released from hospital, so probably around 2 weeks after she had suffered the initial seizure. So she went in for 4-hour procedure. They'd done the biopsy, and then we kind of were just in limbo waiting for the results. And then after about a week, we were called into the hospital. Now, because they'd said they weren't worried about doing a biopsy on the brain, and they couldn't find what they thought they had found on the liver, we were kind of telling ourselves it was going to be something simple. Maybe because my wife suffers with abscesses, it might be another cyst or an abscess on the lung, or even if it was something bad, hopefully they'd caught it early and they could deal with it. So we get to the hospital. We're in the thinking the name of the ward now, but we're in there waiting to see the doctor. By this time my wife was absolutely in bits, and I was trying to reassure her, telling her it'd be okay. Eventually we got called in, sits down and she's asking all these questions. Straight away I knew this weren't going to be good, because she was asking how close like our closest family members are. And then she came out with the words, now obviously it's cancer. It had started off in the lung, and as soon as she said the words started off in the lung, I knew it wasn't going to be bad. They found 40 plus, is it metastases or something like that, in the brain, which obviously isn't good. It's small cell lung cancer, and all these 40 plus metastases in the brain. With the fact it's an aggressive form of cancer, there's nothing they can actually do to cure it. By this time I think I just closed down completely, and funny enough my wife was actually seemed to be in quite good spirits. They said obviously it's up to my wife if she wants treatment. Her life expectancy is expected to be as low as a couple of months without treatment, and with treatment maybe a year to 2. At that point my whole world just came to a screeching halt. Obviously my wife is everything to me. She's the backbone of our family. Everything else, like my other channel, the woodworking, just seemed so not important. Obviously the whole family is absolutely flipping in bits, which is just broken right now. The thought of losing my wife, I mean I'm only 45, so I'm fairly young, and I've been married to my wife. It'll be our 10-year anniversary this year, and the thought of losing her, it's heartbreaking. But it kind of, we have heard stories of people with the same type of cancer that have been told the same as us, a year or 2 with treatment. There was one woman who still going 7 years on, so fingers crossed. I mean, it's not going to be an easy journey, but I know we're not the only family going through this, and I know it's not going to be easy. Hence why I've decided to document it, and talk about experiences, because I think talking about it helps you cope with it. So that is basically where we're at the moment. Now, she has had her first 4-hour chemo session in the hospital. I will be covering that in a future video, but I just wanted to give people a heads up on the channel and why I've started it. It is basically just an out for me to kind of talk about how it's affecting the family, treatments that my wife's having, and just anything related to the circumstances. I hope to reach people that are maybe going through a similar situation. Just to be able to kind of share things with like-minded people. anyone's welcome on the channel, even if you've not experienced anything like this and you're not going through it. You're welcome to join it. Like I say, the main reason is it gives me something to kind of focus on other than what's actually going on. I know it's not an easy subject to talk about, but at the same time, having something to kind of focus on and an outlet for me to just talk to people is going to help me no end as well. I do want to point out that I was blown away by the positive comments that I got from people over on the other main channel. All the well wishes and that. I mean, it makes such a difference during these difficult times. So I really do appreciate the support and the love. And I mean, it does bring it home that there's so many people that I've never met in my life that only know me from my YouTube videos that actually have taken the time to leave comments. It means so much. So I really do appreciate it, and I might not get round to actually replying to the comments because there's so many, but I just wanted you guys to know that I do really appreciate the support. So I'm going to leave the first video here. I'm just going to be kind of uploading videos as and when I get the chance, because obviously I want to spend as much time with wife and family. But I really do appreciate all the support, the love that I'm receiving from people. So yeah, I can't say when the next video is going to be, but all I can say, I know I've been a bit teary in this one, but we are all trying to be as positive as possible. We want to make as many happy memories as possible in the time that she's got left. Because I do feel that positivity does or will make a big difference, because I think if you all just give up, especially my wife, she sees everyone else being like negative and teary, it's not going to do her any good. Now, yes, we will have days where we're going to be upset or crying, but we have been quite upbeat together, and that's what I'm going to continue to do in the meantime, is just try and be as upbeat as possible, because if we can all stay positive, who knows, she could last for many years to come. So that's going to do it for the first introduction video. Like I say, just made this channel because it gives me an out, it gives me the chance to kind of talk about things, which I know is a good thing as far as my mental well-being goes. It gives me somewhere, even if I end up in tears, it's like it doesn't matter, because I don't really want my wife seeing all of that. So, and yeah, the main reason is just to kind of, I know that I'm not the only family that's going through this. There's thousands of families that are going through this, and if I can connect with some of those families that have either been through or are going through it, then it's just a place where we can like leave comments and discuss things, and just for people to know they're not alone in these difficult times. So that's enough of me rabbiting on. Stay tuned for the next video, which will be whenever I get the chance to come out here. Obviously, wife and family comes first at the moment, but I appreciate anyone that's actually sat down or sits down and watches these videos. So that's going to do it for now. Stay tuned for the next video. Like I say, don't know when it's going to be, but until then, stay safe. Appreciate the people that are nearest and dearest to you. Make the most of all the little things in life that some of us take for granted. I know I'm guilty of that in the past. So just tell the people that you love the most that you love them. Spend quality time, and I shall speak to you in the next video. Cheers for watching, guys.